following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Insider's Edge podcast here on the WZWA network. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia Imperial. It's a joy to be with you all once again. And speaking of a joy, right here, right now, I get the opportunity to speak to somebody that I am a huge fan of from his time in professional wrestling and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, the whole fucking show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rob Van Dam. How are you, sir?
Excellent. Did you say joy or a joint? I wasn't sure.
Excellent stuff, bro.
Everything is fantastic. Thank you for asking.
No problem, mate. Awesome stuff to have you on the show. Rob, I wanted to start things off by talking about your YouTube channel that you've got going right now. YouTube.com/TheRealRVD. Tell me a little bit about this channel and what I guess your ideas are for this channel going forward.
Yeah, so I've had the channel for a really long time, and I took a break from it for like 13 years or something. Kind of forgot I even had it. And then recently, maybe about a year ago or so, I started loading stuff back up on it and building up some fresh new eyes on it. So what I've been doing is filming my adventures. You know, I was in Canada wrestling this last weekend. The weekend before, I was in Japan, and so I bring the phone, you know, film the stuff, edit little videos on it, and it's the way to keep up with me right now. That's the most current platform, and I try to update it at least weekly so that everyone can see what's going on with RVD. So whether it's me traveling to wrestle or whether it's just some things in town here, I live in Las Vegas, whatever. Try to keep everybody updated. So it'd be nice to have more eyes on the page and incentivize me more to keep being good at getting the content, because it really is fun.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, I think I just seen on the channel a match with you and Bam Bam is up on there. I also checked out a few other videos of you traveling around, and you're at this nifty little airport. Telling everyone about that.
I'm always at an airport. But yeah, that's the wrestling matches. We've only started putting those up like maybe a month ago or so. So that's like fairly new, and we have a bunch of other stuff, footage, archive, old footage, new footage. But I don't know if I want to put all the best foot forward immediately when not enough people are looking at it. So that's the thing. Or do you put everything out there to draw everybody in? I don't know. So I'm picking the heads of some of my friends that have YouTube channels and getting their advice on that stuff too. You know, I'm a big fan of YouTube. I watch First Amendment auditors, where people challenge the police officers with the actual laws, not just with the orders that they're barking, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
and
YouTube is
also watch Mafia. That's an area of interest for me, is mostly La Cosa Nostra and Associates. So that's a big part of YouTube also.
Cool. Yeah, YouTube is a really it's a strange I suppose avenue, because like we've had our channel for a few years now, and we're still trying to get ourselves deep into that algorithm, I suppose you could say. So it's a really difficult process, and it's hard to figure out, but I'm sure you will get there for sure. And there's another thing I wanted to ask you about, another passion of yours, which is comedy, because I did. Geez, it must have been about 12 years ago I did stand-up comedy, and I've also been a local professional wrestler in the past as well. And I found performing for comedy to be more nerve-wracking for me than performing in the ring or when I was in a band as well. I found comedy to just be more nerve-wracking than anything. Tell me a little bit about how you find going up there and performing for comedy.
I think if any nerves arise, they're similar to before a match, whereas it's only the thought of I don't want to fuck up, you know. So hopefully I remember everything that I want to remember, which I'm not going to, depending on how long I'm up there. I'm usually going to forget one or two things, and I'm just trying not to. So I'm trying to, in my head, you know, make some kind of path that goes from A to B to C, so I can try to collect everything along the way. But I have a lot of fun with it, and I'm pretty calm up there. And you know, just like with everything else, over time, and the more I did it, the better I got, the more comfortable I am, and also better making decisions, you know, about what to say and what not to say, and you know, some stuff you got to let it go. Like no matter how hard you think it's funny, if it's not getting the reaction from everybody for whatever reason, some stuff you got to let go. But yeah, like the last 3 or 4 times I went up, I wrote a new thing each time, a new set. I enjoy writing, and then I enjoy visualizing how the audience will react, and then delivering it and getting that gratification. It's very much like wrestling in that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I remember when I did it, I found that I did quite well, but there were times where I like, this bit's gonna kill, and then I hit that line, and then I realized it's not going there. So then
right, you weren't planning for that. Right.
That's it, bro. Cool. The next thing I wanted to ask you about, we're going to be jumping like all over the place here, from bits and pieces from your life, Rob. I've asked, I think, about 10 to 12 guys from ECW this question. I've even had 4 guys from XPW about this. I want to make a big video where we have one person, one after another, tell them their personal story of what their experience was at ECW Heatwave 2000 when the incident took place with XPW at ringside there. If you were involved in anything that took place after the drama started happening, please share your story with myself.
As I remember it, I was just going into the shower when things were just starting, and I heard a little bit of a, you know, potential rumble going on, and I decided, you know, it's nothing but hyped up drama, and I figured, you know, I'm probably making the better choice just getting in the shower, not realizing what all was going on, you know, but it could have just been somebody screaming words at each other. But I took a shower, and when I got out of the shower, I couldn't believe it was still going on. Like it was like it lasted that long. It was moving around from inside to outside and all that. And then I kind of regretted not running out there, because I thought by the time I found out about it, and I'm in my flip-flops and a towel, I figured by the time I go and get dressed and run out there, I thought everything would be over anyway. So I was like, you know, whatever, I'm in the shower, and it was still going on, and still going on strong, like after the shower, and then I'm getting dressed. I'm like, is this still going on? And you know, finally it was over. But it seems like the actual amount of time from the start, whether it was when, I don't know if it was when Tommy reached over the guardrail or something, whatever the start was till they stopped the fighting, it must have been like 15-20 minutes.
Excellent. I've got somebody that was in the shower or something when this took place.
Yeah.
And I have this idea in mind of all these different people's stories, and I was like, there's got to be at least one person that somehow missed out on this because of that. So
I mean, that was me. Yep.
awesome. Now I want to take this all the way back to the 4th of August, 1990. It's big time wrestling at the Toledo Speedway. This card features Ken Patera, Sabu, The Sheik, but also listed on this card from my research, there's a kickboxing match between yourself, who is listed as Rob Zatt. I could be wrong, but this is what it said, against a guy by the name of Dango Win. I wanted you to tell me a little bit about this, but also tell me a little bit about your friend Dango, because he seemed like quite an interesting guy.
Dango was always around for everything. He shared in all of my adventures. We've been best friends since 6th grade. We went to the wrestling shows together as fans. We went to kickboxing practice. We entered the Tough Man contests together. He entered the Sheik's wrestling school. I started first, got a couple of months ahead of him, and I would show him what I was learning. And then eventually we brought him in. The Sheik's wrestling class was very small, like 4 people. It wasn't a bunch of students lined up, taking bumps. It was very personalized. If there was 5 people at one time, that'd be like a full house. It was usually just me and Dango and Sabu, and then there was 2 other guys that would rotate, Tom and also George. Sometimes they'd be there, sometimes not. So Dango was always my best friend. We were always very competitive, and those first professional matches that I had were at the Sheik's show, and to control us and control our exposure, because we were so young and green, they would set up a kickboxing match. They did this at 3 or 4 shows where Dango and we were both kickboxers, so we would have our gloves and foot pads on, and we would be throwing some kicks, going at each other. At some point during that match, things get heated, the gloves come off, and we start fighting, and then it's like a pull apart. Those were some of my first matches to control the exploitation without exposing too much,
Right, cool. Yeah, because I also was
Dango passed a couple of years ago from cancer, by the way. Crazy. He was a fireman, but he was still, he went to USWA and was wrestling with me there, when we started out in those early years, and definitely an interesting character.
Yeah, I saw that he also might have done a bit of stunt work and things of that nature. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to ask a little bit about him because, it seemed like he was right there with you and Sabu during those days. And I kind of just felt like his name doesn't get brought up when people speak to you. So thought it was important to do so.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Another thing I want to ask you about, the Van Dam lift. I wanted some clarification on this because I was trying to do some Googling, couldn't figure it out. Do you still hold the world record for the Van Dam lift?
I don't know. I have no idea, actually. I don't know which way to lean on that. I was going to say probably, but I might not. I have seen just recently, somebody was showing me some kind of footage I'd never seen before of people coming after me with that. And I didn't even know that they ever did. Like, there was no way to contact me or anything, and it wasn't like there was meets or tournaments held, for it. It was just that one organization that officiated it, the All Around Weightlifters Association, and maybe it was on their site, but I saw some people. Usually, whenever I see somebody doing the Van Dam lift, they have a little variant to it. So then I'm like, well, they made it their own instead of just trying to beat my record, maybe. For instance, like I held a dumbbell up in front of me, and I've seen, I see a guy that can do it with a barbell, or a guy with a girl standing on each leg, different things like that. someone doing curls or something in the split. So they made it different. So I don't know if anybody has actually come along and actually beat the record of 166 and a half pounds or not.
Right. Yeah. I saw a video of a guy. He was doing the splits across the two chairs, but he lifted a weight with his. There's like a I don't know, some sort of rope connected to it with his teeth, and he lifted it up.
Yeah. Amazing.
Next question I have for you is, can you tell me a little bit about a young man by the name of Matt Byrne?
Yes, I can. Young in my career, when I was living in Florida and was still learning, but had a little bit of momentum behind the name Rob Van Dam. I'd had about a year of being Rob Van Dam, wrestling in front of the fans, and in a few magazines. You know, I definitely had some steam behind that and was going places for sure. WWF came through town, and Pat Tanaka hooked up a lot of the local boys with doing jobs, which back then was wrestling with a veteran in a veteran showcasing. You know, squash matches used to be the way it used to be, always like a one-sided match. And anyway, I ended up traveling with somebody else. No, first he said he was going to get me on the list and whatever. For whatever reason, they couldn't use me. So Pat got me on the next town, but we had to drive all the way up to Biloxi, Mississippi. And I think New Orleans. It was two shows back to back. But anyway, at the time I was wrestling for like 30, 35 bucks on a Thursday night at the Sportatorium. So to get $150 to do a match for WWF was really good money. But I didn't want to be seen on their TV getting beat. And that was going to be the deal. I was only going to be there for the purpose of getting one of their stars over. But myself and another wrestler, Sandy Beach. Yeah. You know, there's been a bunch of both those. But anyway, we went there and I wanted to change my look as much as possible. So instead of having the ponytail and whatever, I had my hair out. I wore blue trunks, white boxing boots. I really tried to change my look. And I also called myself Matt Byrne or Matt Burns, thinking of all the Matt Burns I had on my elbows and knees. I thought that'd be a great name for a wrestler. And they went right over their head. They didn't laugh at it or ever. They were just, you know, like trying to put the name down on the list to get the name and weight right. And so they called it out there. And I wrestled actually 2 matches. One, I don't think I've seen it, but I wrestled in a handicap match against Sid Vicious. And it was actually embarrassing being 2 against 1 and having to get thrown around like a doll. But he is a giant. But the ego inside of me that was trying to protect whatever momentum I had going for RVD, you know, I had issues with that. Sorry, I got the hiccups. I had it for 2 days. 2 days. They keep going back. And then the other match, I wrestled the Mountie, and I actually wore a shirt that I was warming up in. I just wore it out to the ring and said, "Fuck, that's a pretty good idea to change my look." I came back through the gorilla, and the agents were mumbling, "What? No, he didn't. No, did he? What? Are you serious? What? Hey, Matt." Gorilla Monsoon calls me over. He says, "You weren't wearing that shirt out there in the match, were you?" Because I still had it on. Yeah, I had it on before and did what? Oh, no, we might not be able to use that now. Why would you do that? Why would you be so thoughtless as to wear the shirt during your match? I didn't know it mattered. I was just 21, 22-year-old kid feeling really awkward, but that was my experience with Matt Burns. I had the 2 matches, one with Mountie and one with Sid.
Awesome stuff, bro. Okay, now I'm going to be springing over to September 19th, 1999. This is kind of like a strange one. A lot of questions are out there about this where on the internet where I don't seem to be getting a clear answer. Villa Park, Illinois, Odeum Expo Center. You're advertised to face the British bruiser Johnny Smith, but instead you face Balls Mahoney. Do you know what happened there and why you didn't end up facing Johnny on the pay-per-view?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I have no idea. I mean, just from the way you set it up there, I mean, he could have just had flight problems, could have had travel problems getting in, could have had a flight canceled or something, but I honestly don't know.
No
I do
problem.
remember wrestling. I do remember the match though, wrestling Balls and doing my big dive out to the crowd from the top rope because he was one of like three people that I felt comfortable doing that to. Him, Bam Bam, and Bubba Dudley doing that dive too because they were strong.
And a quite a big target to hit as well, which is
that as well, yeah.
I wanted to talk about Invasion 2001, and I didn't have a question really. I just wanted to tell you a story from mine and my friends' perspectives when we first saw you perform on that show. So this is 2001. We live in Perth, Western Australia, so we barely had any knowledge of ECW. We knew some names. We played the video game. But we didn't know a whole lot. We had no access to footage. We didn't know how to tape trade at the time either. So we just heard of these names and we were going to watch this pay-per-view. And I guess what I wanted to say was that me and we're all 14 years old. We're watching this show. We see you against Jeff. And like, we can't even like stay in our seats. We're in our friend's lounge room. We can't stay in our seats. We're on our feet, unable to believe like what we're seeing because we all loved Jeff Hardy. Like the Hardy Boys were huge for me and a lot of fans during that time, or teenage fans during that time. But when we saw you, we were like, who is this guy? This guy is amazing. This guy is amazing. And when I look back at it and I see a lot of fans in the building at the time, I kind of feel like maybe a lot of those, teenage fans, a lot of those just WWF fans, maybe not been exposed to you in the mid 90s when you showed up on Raw. But I just feel like a whole heap of people got exposed to you, saw somebody that wrestled like no one that they'd ever seen before. And I'm not just saying all this just to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but I'm just telling you, I felt it. I saw it in the audience. Did you feel it too? Did you feel like all of a sudden, just like that, this was a pretty big moment for you?
I have had that happen, but not at that moment. At that moment, it was just another good moment. I always liked wrestling with Jeff. I know, a little bit of what to expect because we both are very like-minded. We're not going to be struggling to try to meet halfway from opposite ends of the ballpark because we're not going to be that far off. We both have a similar idea of what's cool. We know each other's moves and we vibe similarly. So I know that the match is going to kick ass and something like that, being that high profile and everything, it felt like just one more, home run, like boom, I got another. I did feel that one moment where all of a sudden, boom, the crowd switched and treated me completely different. That was back 98 after I beat Bam Bam Bigelow for the television title. After that, it was one of those moments where everything was just different. And all of a sudden they treated me like I was a much bigger star, and I started just rocking the buildings with my applause that I was getting, all the cheers. But when I was with WWE at that point, coming in, still new, have to still show everybody what I'm about, but then just doing it, boom, there you go. This is what I'm about.
That's it, bro. And another question about your time early on in your WWF run. There was an important stage that I felt in your career, which is, we're in the middle of the invasion angle. We're heading towards No Mercy 2001. I'm sure you've been asked about this before, and I've spent most of this interview trying to ask things that you might not have been asked before. But I felt like, as a fan at the time, you were the hottest thing in the company. And I kind of feel like this is almost like a precursor to somebody like Daniel Bryan, like clearly at one stage the hottest thing in the company, but instead of the company going there and pulling the trigger and just being like, okay, look, right now's maybe the time, let's just do it. They kind of pull back, like they've tried to pull back with Daniel. Thankfully for him, he actually got to the fans complained enough that they just did it anyway. But I feel like they kind of pulled back on you and just tried to just pull the reins back, even though I always heard them say, don't go against the grain. Well, I kind of felt like they went against the grain. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I have the same feelings, but in trying to understand the bigger picture, I think that I was looked at probably as a bit of a wild card, because of just being me, the nonconformist I am, because I'm so different. If you watch my Icons documentary, pretty much the story there is, hey, he doesn't act like he really wants it, or like he cares about enough. That's because of my Zen. I'm not very dramatic, and that works against me sometimes. And that pretty much, I think they got that right. I think that's how WWE office saw me, was that I didn't want it enough or care enough, or I would have probably changed in some of the ways that they wanted me to change, and I didn't. So I think because of that, because of the cannabis use, because I really didn't make any attempts to try to fit in, even when they said to everyone show up early, we're going to start working up in the ring before the show. I was like, fuck that, that's not for me, and I was always like that. So I could see where they might have seen me as a wild card, not a safe bet necessarily to put everything on my shoulders. And then when I was on the top, it's because I changed the entire playing field and made that possible by bringing ECW back. But then, what happened? I think I proved him right. When I had to drop the straps, that was a big blow to ECW and to the plans of what we were building at the time. And that was because of the possession of cannabis. So when I look at it like that and see the big picture, it doesn't seem entirely ridiculous for them to feel unsafe about me at that time.
Fair enough. And you did bring up a bit of the WWE's version of ECW. One Night Stand 06, the second one. I only have one random question about this night. This is the night where you become the WWE World Champion. The only question I want to ask was, what went through your head when you saw the fans throwing John's shirt back in the ring over and over again? Because that, to me, is one of my favorite things that happened on that show.
I was laughing. That was just a shoot. Fucking, this is hilarious kind of laugh. I didn't expect that. That's a hell of a souvenir to take home with you from a pay-per-view, John Cena's shirt, so that's pretty committed to throw it back at him, wipe your ass and throw it back at him. And that's perfect for the energy that was at the Hammerstein Ballroom, because everybody was 100% against him and what he stood for, 100% for me and everything that I stood for. And the whole buildup for that match, I feel, was like my whole career, so that's why it was so important for me. So I really didn't allow myself to believe that I was going to be holding the gold up in the end until it actually happened. Skeptical till the very last moment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times when there's a main event, there's got to be at least a couple of people in the audience that are going for, the heel or the guy that you would expect most people wouldn't be going for. But this is definitely confirmed. We don't even need to go check. It's definitely 100% everyone was in your corner that night.
It was a one of a kind experience, over 30 years, I've never felt that kind of energy that crowd had. And it was just, everything had to be perfectly aligned because they had to, first off, they had to be the original fans from the old ECW shows to even qualify to at the start of this idea. But it was amazing. It was just fucking amazing. And I have seen Cena get booed before, like in Wales. I think it was the first time that I saw that in Cardiff, Wales. He was so professional. He got on the microphone, told everyone how happy he is that they're voicing their opinion, and he'd rather have them do that than not make any noise because now he knows they're having a good time. And are you ready to roll? And he just turned the people right over to him. And I was really impressed. But yeah, this was one of a whole career night where that ECW New York vicious crowd was displaying their values.
Excellent, bro. The next thing I wanted to talk about, I think maybe it was about 2 years ago. I had the opportunity to interview Bob Holly, and he discussed your match together and how it was his favorite that he ever had in pro wrestling in his whole career. That was number one.
Cool.
How do you feel about that match and working with Bob, and obviously the situation with his back, getting that big cut, but soldiering on true ECW style to get to the end of the match? Please tell me a little bit about that.
I went through different cycles of motivation when I was there, sometimes feeling like, okay, I don't know what they're going to do with me. When I first got there, they're going to probably change my name, whatever. I don't know. But then I'm ECW representing the Alliance. I was like, wow, man, that's great. Like I had no idea. That's great. I'm going to add depth to my career instead of burying it and starting over. And then after a while, things then I got the hardcore title. And I'm like, awesome. Now I'm having fun again. I love the hardcore matches. When we're bringing ECW back as a third brand, I was the most motivated I could have been. I was like so excited. I felt like quitting shortly before that, and now I'm like, dude, if I can wrestle the ECW style, so I can be showcased the best way for me, but on WWE's stage, like that's huge. Like if everyone gets a chance to see that, I believe enough people would, even though it has like a cult and a sub anti-society draw to it. But when you think about like really, really big numbers, you think maybe there's still enough numbers of them, to have like a majority of wrestling watchers. So, but anyway, I was looking forward to wrestling Bob Holly because I had the ECW spirit in me. I was very proud of ECW and proud of my matches and stuff. And I knew that he was really stiff with the guys. I saw him beating the shit out of a lot of guys. And I was just like, I was excited because I just knew I was going to give it right back to him, and I was going to beat the shit out of him too. And I like those kind of matches. And so I was really looking forward to it. And I really enjoyed wrestling with him. We wrestled quite a bit on a lot of non-televised shows. Had quite a few matches, and I think we both got a lot out of it. The night I want to remember is when his back was like torn up from the metal trim around the table, I guess, sliced him. But people forget he was doing the move to me. I'm pretty sure he was suplexing me or something. So yeah. I don't know how I got blamed for it.
Yeah, I remember when we talked to him about that on the show. It was kind of like at that stage, it had been a while since they'd done anything with Bob. So it was kind of like, oh, Bob's still awesome. Like we kind of forgot. So I think it meant a lot to him that we felt that way, and that match really meant a lot to him. So I thought I'd pass that along if he never had the chance to.
I appreciate that. Definitely.
Again, WWE, ECW. I know you kind of talked a little bit before about when you got pulled over and all that stuff took place and you got the title taken off you. Probably was what turned things around, and maybe the idea of this new ECW wasn't going to work out in Vince's eyes. But I wanted to ask you about those ECW house shows that took place soon after the second one night stand. It was June 24th at the old ECW Arena in Philly. You worked with Kurt Angle in the main event with Dean Malenko as the special referee. You also work July 1st in Belle Vernon with Big Show, and then again in Huntington the next day with Big Show. Can you tell me what these shows were like before there was the actual TV product of ECW on Sci-Fi? What were these little house shows like? With the SmackDown roster as well. Do they feel authentic?
It felt like walking backwards in time, authentic in the way of having a $50 budget to advertise each show, and I think they just mentioned on the internet and booked the old buildings and thought that our devoted fans would just show up. So I was really disappointed that our crowds were so small, 1,000, 1,500 people. And it's like, I didn't want that. I didn't want to bring ECW back to where it was in 1996. We'd already built it up quite a bit from there. And we were doing like the Ross Raver ice hockey rink in Pennsylvania, which was a shithole. I didn't like doing it with ECW. Totally didn't like doing it with WWE's version of ECW, so that was really weird. It wasn't pleasurable. You know what I mean? I felt like almost like it was set up to fail.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I spoke to Lou DeAngelis about the whole thing. He was working, I guess, in the office at the time. And he was kind of in charge of doing all of that stuff. So his version of events is quite interesting as well, especially when he told me about how he went into Tommy's hotel room to let him know that he's heard rumors that they were just going to kill this thing. So it's sad for us fans. And I say that I'm a fan of ECW, even though I never watched any of the original one before it was all over. But now I've gone back, I've seen it all. So that was heartbreaking for me as a fan that this thing wasn't going to work out. ECW Arena, now the 2300 Arena. The last time from my research you worked there was teaming with Bully Ray to face Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn for Battleground Championship Wrestling on September 18th last year. Outside of anything in-ring related, what are your fondest memories of the arena?
Outside of wrestling, huh? Long nights, it seemed like the nights just lasted forever and ever and ever, and I wouldn't not even worry about who's up or what match they're on. I'd be smoking with whoever, usually in the back parking lot, and every once in a while I'll just maybe check in with the show and like, dude, are we up yet? We still got a long time. The nights seemed to last so long, but the crowds were great. And especially when I first got to ECW, and I was up on the second floor, but looking through a hole in the wall to watch the show. And I couldn't believe they kept outdoing themselves. And it just, I remember after the first ECW show that I saw, there was such a big pop at the end. The crowd was so, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. I just thought, like, how are they ever going to top that? But the next time we were there, boom, they topped it. And then I realized that's what it was all about. And Paul always found a way to top it. At least prospectively, there was it was like, boom, now the lights are out. Holy shit, this is awesome. And like he always found a way to top the last one. And that's something that I took. But the crowd was great, and the crowd had to put that demand on all of us in order for that to even be possible. But I did take a lot of that by trying to outdo my own moves, like going from the Van Daminator to jumping off the top rope and kicking him, having him crotch halfway down the rope and fly and kicking the chair, or nutting him on the guardrail and doing the Van Daminator, whatever. I was always trying to come up with like new ways to put a twist on it or whatever. And I think that's part of why I fit so damn good with ECW.
Absolutely. I want to now bring up Impact Wrestling. We haven't got too long to go in the interview here, Rob. So again, thank you for your time. But I thought it wouldn't be right if I didn't bring up some of your time in Impact Wrestling. And
by the way, I will be at the ECW Arena December 19th as well. So I'm booked to have a match there coming up.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah. That's good. And I'll make sure that we put any information of that in our description on YouTube. So Impact, one thing I just want to ask you about, because I looked on YouTube, I looked online, I couldn't see any sort of comments from you about working with Sting. I always thought to myself as a fan how surreal it kind of felt at that stage of my fandom in wrestling to be seeing RVD versus Sting take place. How did you like that mix of styles between you two?
I enjoyed it, every match really is a compromise, you know what I mean? Because you're two different people with two different brains, or 4 or 6, how many people are in the match. But I enjoyed, obviously I watched him, when I was growing up. So it was like an honor. At the same time, if anyone was going to be taking crazy bumps, it was going to be me, during the match, which I would try to get in, and still make it extreme, even if it was doing a crossbody off the bleachers or whatever. But I enjoyed it. And Sting was always super cool, in and out of the ring to me.
That's cool, bro. The recent match that you've just had, you got the opportunity to wrestle at Noah again, teaming with Masato Tanaka against Nasawa and Super Crazy on the 16th. So this is quite recent. Please tell me about that experience there. I saw some footage of the match. You've still got it. It's unbelievable. You still look the exact same as you were like 20 years ago. So please tell me about that match.
So it was at the Tokyo Budokan, which is a building that I came up in the business, starting to wrestle there when I was 22 for All Japan Pro Wrestling through like 99. Our All Japan tour would always end at the Budokan, so it was really cool. It was a lot of full circle kind of shit happening in my brain, coming back to Japan after being gone so long, and remembering when I was on the other side of the card, trying to work my way up. So it was really cool. The fans, if anything, they're over appreciative, I think, as far as, their reactions and how they've taken to me coming back. One thing that's weird, because of COVID, the restrictions are high there. They're not allowed to make a lot of noise.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, so when you're trying to work with the crowd and connect with the crowd, they're literally not going to scream at you. Their octave can only get so high, and then they can clap, but they're not even allowed to shout in public because of the spray that comes out of your mouth. So that made it really different. But I have experience wrestling in the studios in front of nobody when COVID started, you know, and that sucked too. That sucked worse.
I can imagine, but yeah, I saw some of the footage of the match, and I still can't believe Masato Tanaka. He looks so great. It's like he almost looks younger now than he did back in the
Yeah.
day.
I'm always happy to see when my peers can still go. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
I
I
had
would.
a match since then, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not. That was July 16th, and the next Saturday, July 23rd, I just had a match in Canada with
Oh right, yeah, that is right. Yeah, you did wrestle.
Channing Decker.
Here, but yes, you had was it a hardcore match with You've worked with the
Yeah.
guy a few times already.
Yep. So this is our second. This is our second match. Looks like we might have to have a third now, but Channing Decker and
That's it.
yeah, it was. This was like 35 minutes singles match in Japan. It was a tag match, you know, which makes it a little bit easier already just because of the amount of people that are in the ring. But I really like Noah, and it's, you know, the whole story of Noah with the arc and, you know, the second chance, God's trying to rebuild people or whatever. It's kind of interesting how like my career seems like I got like a rejuvenated this year. Like I'm wrestling a lot, and my body is feeling better than it has in like 10 years. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting the parallels there.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted to give this point of the interview a chance for you to plug anything else that's going on right now with RVD.
Yeah, so you can follow me on YouTube and everywhere at the real RVD. Man, I've had these hiccups for 2 days. That happens to me every once in a while. It's very annoying. We got, you know, I'm working up here in the States, you know, on the RVD CBD. Spent a lot of time on that. We don't ship it internationally, so I won't get too much into booking that. But that's a big part of what I'm doing in ways that I'm trying to help people and being successful at it. Really helping a lot of people that sometimes didn't get benefits from other things that they tried and stuff. So very very proud of my product, and I spend a lot of time on that. What else is there to tell the fans about? What is July, August? Well, September, October, November. Gonna be not coming to Australia, but I'm coming to the UK in October. Wrestling in Doncaster, and then signing in London, and then Cork, Ireland, and then Edinburgh. Where's that one that Loch Ness Monsters is from?
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland. But yeah, it's cool to, you know, I've always said, like, in interviews for years, when people ask, you know, like, what do you like want to do or hope to do or goals or whatever, I always say consistency. My life is awesome. I'd be happy as could be if it just continued the way that it always has. Yeah, so nothing huge comes to mind as far as plugging anything. I always have my hand in a bunch of different projects, you know, and my WWE video game just came out. I got a Funko Pop coming out, a new action figure coming out. All that's cool. But outside of that, who knows when stuff will come to fruition. But I would appreciate it if you check out my YouTube page and subscribe, comment, hit the thumbs up button. Bam, the real RVD.
Cool. And everyone out there, once again, I will put links to everything that I could possibly find
Awesome.
on RVD and what he's doing and what he has done in the description. Okay, Rob, it's time to get to the final segment of the interview, 5-second frenzy. It technically is supposed to have 5 seconds to answer each question, but it's okay. You're not going to get in trouble if you.
The shorter, the better, though. Huh?
Right. That's right. First one. Who is your favorite professional wrestler of all time?
Sabu.
Excellent. Favorite opponent over the years?
Oh, you're not gonna like this, Sabu.
That's fine. That's fine.
Good.
Last one about wrestling, I promise. Favorite, if you could pick one match that's your favorite, what is it?
Of mine,
Yeah.
of my matches, the one night stand with Cena, because of all the elements that we discussed that made
Yep.
it special.
Very nice. Getting away from wrestling now. Favorite book?
Favorite book. Casino.
Very nice. Favorite TV show?
Uh, maybe maybe it's Neighborhood Wars.
Very nice. Do you have a favorite film?
Well, I usually think of Casino for that as well. That's kind of how I was thinking of the Casino's probably my favorite film. Casino, Goodfellas. Yeah, yeah, and a TV show that was really good, but it was limited. Was called The Offer, and it was about the making of Godfather, how they dealt with
Right.
Joe Colombo in New York and everything, and it was really really good. But it was like 10 or 12 episodes, and it's done now. So yeah.
Cool. Moving from TV and film, favorite musical artist or band?
Ooh, I want to change my book to Sam Giancano's autobiography. It's what is it called? Double Cross. I'm gonna name that as my favorite book. Okay, I can do that. It's my favorites. What was the question?
Favorite band or musical artist?
Oh, how about Cypress Hill?
Oh, sweet, bro, sweet.
Oh, my friends.
Getting away from the arts now. Favorite food?
Chicken in its embryonic stage. Chicken embryos.
Very nice. Do you have a favorite place to eat on the road?
Cracker Barrel.
Excellent choice. This one, I'm throwing this one in specifically for you because I also asked this when I interviewed The Godfather. Do you have a favorite strain of weed?
Probably not.
No.
I
This
mean, I
was
could
OG
just
Kush.
name a couple. I could throw down like Blue Dream, is up there. Well, actually, I I did, but it's not. It's just no longer around. It was called Tangerine, and it was magical weed because after you smoked it, it smelled like somebody sprayed air freshener around the room. It was amazing. It tasted like it had vitamin C crushed up in it, but it disappeared, and then it came back after like 12 years, and supposedly it was found in the bottom of a closet of some college kid's dorm, and so they grew it again for a minute, and now all you get is derivatives that are like hybrids that have
Right.
hopefully some tangerine genetics in them still. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, that sounds like a teenager's dream strain.
What Godfather
Because
say?
he said
Godfather?
OG Kush.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's an OG.
3 to go, Rob. 3 to go. Favorite beverage or favorite alcoholic beverage if you like to drink?
IPA.
Very nice. Very good decision there. 2 to go, Rob. The naughtiest one of 5 Second Frenzy. Favorite female body part. You see a good-looking lady, where will Rob's eyes go to first?
Honestly, I think the face is overlooked in the question, because in reality, like, the face kind of starts how much more research you want to put into it usually. So face or ass.
Very good. And the last one, Rob, favorite curse word?
I want to say damn, but I believe I'm much more fonder of using the F word and throwing fucking whenever it's appropriate.
Excellent, Rob. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me here today. It really means a lot to me. You're a big part of my fandom in pro wrestling. And just to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you, hear some stories from your life, it really means a lot to me. And I just hope you're so proud of what you've accomplished across your awesome life. You've done so many great, cool things. And I just want to let you know that right here, Perth, Western Australia, we all appreciate you, my friend.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Appreciate Perth as well.
Thanks, Rob. And thank you all out there for joining us here for the Insider's Edge podcast on the WCWA Network. I'm Karlifornia. This is RVD, and I will see you all down the road. Thank you.